and welcome back to my channel. It's Andrea and I'm here to finish up the Creative Design Team's week-long collab where we have focused on sketches out of our new 8.5 by 11 inch sketchbook. Now, I will put the link to this sketchbook down below in this video's description so that you can check it out and see if this is something that you might be interested in. If not, sit back, relax, and enjoy this little process video along with me. We are going to work on a sketch. There's 2 pages here, and I'm going to actually make both of these pages featuring our Flower Shop paper pack. This is from our core catalog, and it is still available, and I've yet to work with it. I don't know why. It's absolutely lovely with its bright colors. And I have some prom pictures of my youngest daughter, Emma, that I'm going to bring in and scrapbook a 2-page layout. But guess what? I am not an odd size scrapbooker. I definitely love my 12 by 12, and I thought long and hard about whether or not I wanted to do this particular memory in the 8.5 by 11 inch size. So I want to show you, fear not, if you're not an 8.5 by 11 inch scrapbooker, you can easily take any of the sketches that the girls and I have designed for you and turn it into a 12 by 12 layout. It's easy, and in this video, I'm going to focus on one really super simple way that you can go ahead and change up the size, and it really just requires 2 12 by 12 pieces of paper. The first thing I want to do is just show you the Flower Shop paper really quickly. My daughter had on a bright blue dress. Her friend had on a pink dress. There was some green dresses. There were some beige dresses. There was a lot of different color dresses among Emma's friends, and I just thought this paper pack hit it all. The photos that we're going to focus on, though, have Emma in her blue dress and her friend in a kind of pinky mulberry colored dress. So I thought this paper pack was perfect. I love the sayings. They were very, I'm going to call them generic, but they would adapt to their prom pictures really easily. So I thought this was a great paper pack to look at. I love the capri polka dots. There's a lot of busy patterns going on here, right? Wouldn't you say? There are some really busy florals. There are some more subtle florals. They're gorgeous. Great patterns. Very great background patterns here. Let's see. I just love them. I'm going to focus on one of the busier patterns in this paper pack, which is right here. It is just a bold, beautiful sapphire backed piece of floral paper, and I'm going to kind of pair it with some papers from this paper line that are a little calmer, and it'll give you a place to rest your eyes. But I do want to use this hero paper, this Wahoo kind of paper. It is right there and bold and gorgeous, but I don't want it to take it away from the photos either. So we're going to work with that just a bit, and I'm going to show you my tips and techniques. So these are, I'm going to use 2 of these, and these are actually going to be my base pages. So let's go ahead and jump into creating. Here are the photos of Emma and her friend's cat, and like I said, I love the colors, and I felt like this Flower Shop was the perfect paper. So in order to make this a 12 by 12, I'm actually just simply going to build the layouts as 8.5 by 11 to begin with. And I think that we're going to use some white daisy 8.5 by 11 as our base, which you see right here. I've already gone ahead and I have adhered the left page down. I also have another sheet here that's the dimensions that the sketch gave for our right side, and you'll notice that this has about 1/4 inch border on the top, the left side, and the bottom. There's a little bit more of a gap, which you'll see right here. So those are the beginnings of my layout. I'm just going to move this up and out of our way so I can refer to it, but it's not in our way. One other thing that you might notice is that I have 2 4x6 photos here on my sketch, but I'm actually going to do a 4x6 photo and then a 3x4 photo down here. I just wanted this photo of the girls to really be the one that stood out. Before I adhere any more down though, I want to bring in a stencil. I have a stencil here. I hope that you can see it. It's from the Dream Maker paper collection, and it's got some beautiful leaves up here, It's got this kind of almost a herringbone pattern, but it only goes in one direction. We have some squares, like a grid down here. And then we've got these beautiful circles that are kind of different sized. And this just kind of reminded me a little bit of diamonds. So I wanted to just add a little bit of extra up here in the corner where we are going to place our title eventually. So again, this is a stencil that comes from the Dream Maker collection. It's available right now. And it's while supplies last. It's a special for National Scrapbooking Month. So get yourself one of these stencils if you have not already done so, or better yet, get the whole collection because it's amazing. I have some, this is our glitter gel. It is, let me see what the name of this one is, Moon Dust. And it's just a beautiful kind of clear base with some beautiful little iridescent sparkles in it. Got a little piece of tape from another project. I'm just going to tape this down. I'm just going to grab some of our glitter gel, and I just want to put some up in the corner up here. I love this particular one because it's just kind of creates some diamond effects in the background without overtaking the pattern cardstock. It complements it. It doesn't take away from it. And that's exactly what I want in this layout. I want just a little sparkle and bling without it being too much. And maybe just a little bit more down here. We're going to try to get into these. The only thing is that it's very hard to see on camera with all the big lights because I'm getting a reflection. So I'm hoping we're hitting most of these. Maybe a little more down here. Okay, let's see how that looks. Carefully lift the stencil. That's exactly what I was going for. I hope that you can pick up the iridescent look that we have up there. Just going to do a little bit more down here in this corner. We are going to just put a little bit, I think I'm going to put some right on the side over here. Again, this is just going to add a little bit of something. Your eye's not even going to really, your brain's not going to register what your eye's even seeing. Just a little something right here on the side. So we'll just clean that up. We'll put the excess away. And then be sure to clean your stencil right away. It's always a great idea to run it up to a sink, wipe it down. And I always keep that extra little foam piece, keep that right on top. It just kind of helps me to seal this up a little bit better. And there we go. So let's see how this looks on our busier cardstock. I love it. I'm going to see if I can catch it in the light on the camera for you. But it's there. I don't know if it's catching or not, but it is definitely right in this area here. And it looks like this is something that the cardstock had on it. Just makes it a little special. But again, you're barely going to notice that it's there at all. I brought out my close to my heart die cutting machine. And I cut 1/2-inch strips of Capri. And this is Capri glitter paper. And I thought this would be a nice little touch to our layout. I have a die already here, the thin cut from the Fancy Border set. And I have just run it through once. I have these beautiful scallops with hearts. And then I just moved it up and ran it through a second time as well. And that's what we have here. So we're going to use this on our layout. And if you didn't match up perfectly, just like I did, don't fret. Just go back into the middle here and just snip it away just ever so gently. The nice thing about this die was that when I was done cutting it, I had all of these little heart pieces, little confetti pieces. And so I'm going to save those and I'm going to use that on the layout as well. Now I promised you that I was going to make this a simple transition between that 8.5 by 11 to a 12 by 12. And so we are going to just build the pages as is with just slight modifications for things that I want to, you know, just manipulate just a tiny bit to make this layout a little bit different than the sketch. I love the sketch. I created it, but sometimes it's okay to change things up like I told you. So I'm just going to set this aside and we are going to build the rest of these layouts. So first up, we're going to build on this side. And I am just going to lay down my 4x6 photo over here. And that is going to go about 1/4 of an inch from each edge of this pink patterned cardstock. So I'm just going to stick that down right about there. Next is that 3x4 photo. And I'm going to overlap it just a touch. And the reason that I'm going to do that is because Emma has just this little tiny bug bite. And I think I want to cover that just like so. And then you will never see that. We were outside by the woods taking photos, and wouldn't you know, that's what happened. So we'll just cover up that little boo-boo there. Next, I have the dovetailed pieces. Again, there are measurements on this sketch to tell you exactly how big to cut these dovetail pieces. And usually when I dovetail, I'm not very precise about it. I can cut a piece into the middle like this. You can fold in half gently. That's usually the easiest way. When you fold in half, you just come in at the very corner and snip up. And look at that. You have this perfect little dovetail. You know what? Let's go ahead and adhere down the rest of our photos. And I'm going to give ourselves about 1/4 of an inch border here too. And we'll see about where we end up in the middle. Hopefully we don't have to pick any of these up. So I'm not going to push down on them really firmly. We're just going to go very light touch, because if we need to reposition, we can. And it's always a challenge when you're scrapbooking with diagonal patterns. I feel that my eyes kind of get moved across the page a little bit differently. And it kind of makes everything look a little bit crooked when it truly isn't. So I don't know, do you guys struggle with that as well? It's one of those things. I'm doing the tops first, then the bottoms, and then I'll come in on the middle. And I just find that helps me line everything up just a little bit better. Just 2 more and we'll be finished. If you wanted, you could put these really close together. You can move them apart, whatever works for you. And this will be our journaling spot, and I will journal when I go ahead and put these, when I'm about to put them into my album. So I like this so far. I've backed all these photos in raspberry cardstock. I thought it needed a pop, a contrast, and that was the perfect little way to do it. Now I have our sticker sheet. Our sticker sheet from the Flower Shop paper pack had a couple of little tabs here. And instead of using the 1/2 inch pieces that are dictated in the little sketch or suggested in the sketch, I'm just going to use the little pieces right there, little stickers. And then here comes the fun part. We get to mount this. Now I know that there's a few more elements here on our layout sketch. We have some butterflies and we have a title and we have some bling that are on here. But outside of that, we've pretty much made the layout, the 8.5 by 11 layouts. And my plan is to use this Happy Together sticker. And so at this point, I could go ahead and try to put this down, but I know it's going to hang off the edge a bit. And since it's going to be popped up, I just want to keep this kind of flat. So we're going to apply the sticker last. But that would be the last step. You could use some flowers instead of butterflies, but embellishing would be the last step. So we have built the layouts pretty much the whole way. Now I'm going to bring in our base pages. And these, like I said, were solid 12 by 12. However, I knew that I was putting this big 8.5 by 11 inch piece on top of that cardstock. So I wanted to save a bit of that cardstock since I'm using both pages in the pack. I wanted to have a bit of it in reserve. So what I did was I knew I'd have a 1/2 inch around once I laid this on top. So I knew that it was safe to go 1 inch in and to make some cuts. And then I went only 8 inches across. So now I have this 7-inch wide piece of cardstock that I have gutted. And not only do I get to use this for another project, then this isn't as heavy. The layout won't be quite as heavy in my scrapbook either. And you can see I actually did the same. I gutted just a little piece out because I needed a journaling square over here. And so I am not embarrassed about gutting things out. I love to save paper. I'm a little bit frugal when it comes to that, especially with the patterned paper, because I would rather save these little snippets and be able to use them further along in the album, or maybe to make a beautiful card, something like that. So I'm just going to line this up. Like I said, it's going to have about a 1/2 inch border all around. And look at, so we've now taken our 8.5 by 11 page and it's becoming a 12 by 12. I think that's just spectacular. So we're just going to go ahead and give this the 1/2 inch border, just like we did to the right hand page. And I'm totally eyeballing it. If you have a T-square ruler and you're more comfortable doing that, go ahead. I'm just taking care to make sure that when I gutted it, that I left this beautiful sparkly stencil part that we did here. And I made sure that we had that over in the corner. So let's go ahead. We have to add our title. So we're going to pull off this Happy Together title. And I love this title because it is actually not single letters. Yay. I have covered the entire back of this happy sticker with some foam tape. And I'm just going to go ahead and extend the title just out past. I'll go just a little bit past the boundary of the initial 8.5 by 11, because that's one way to make it look like this is intentional, like this is meant to be. It was designed to be a 12 by 12 right from the very start. Then let's see, we have our blue border. We're just going to butt it right up against here. Some of the other things that I thought I could use, I actually used our little painter's tape, and I picked up a lot of these little sequins. They're going to be used as sequins, but they're actually the little parts that came out. So I'm just going to put them down as if they were sequins. And we're going to use those as embellishments here and there too. That'll give it little pieces of bling that your eye will just catch here and there. So I have glued those little tiny hearts all down into place, all up and down the layout. You'll see 1, 2, 3 here. We have 3 over here. And what I've decided to do is, instead of doing big butterflies at this moment on this particular layout, they would look beautiful. But my sticker sheet had a few really fun elements, and it had some little tiny flowers that were hidden on here. There was 3 of them. And so I just used those in place of the butterflies, and I put those on to the layout. And then there are some really cool sentiments on here. What I love about it is that they are really useful in many, many different, for many different subject matters. No matter what your layout's about, you can go ahead and put these on and they fit just about anything. This one says more than words. This one is This Really Happens. Just pick this up. We'll start with this right page. I hope that you can pick up some of the sparkle and shine there on the edge of the page. I think that you can. I just love the border here. And then I went ahead and put 5 pieces of this little hearts up the side here. Again, I will journal in this spot later, but I just love This Really Happens because they are just, these 2 girls just have so much fun together, and they're silly. And I love seeing that. So I think that what I journal is going to be, that'll work really well. And then on this side, I think that you would never, ever know that this wasn't designed to be a 12 by 12 layout. Just a simple change. And I just love, again, having that little sparkle here, I think it brings the whole entire layout together. I have put this particular flower up on top of the happy, and I hope that you can even catch the UV coating. The happy is shiny, and the little flower centers are shiny, and they're just totally adorable. I just love how this layout came together. So I hope that I've convinced you that if you are in possession of this 8.5 by 11 sketchbook, that you have something special, even if you're a 12 by 12 scrapbooker, because all of the measurements are there. And in this particular case, all that you needed to do was to create the layouts as they were designed and then adhere them down to a 12 by 12 base page and maybe just do some border embellishment, and you have layouts that are perfect 12 by 12 size. And I can't wait to explore the rest of our designs in that book, because boy, it really makes scrapbooking a snap when you know exactly what this pink diagonal, ballerina diagonal straight piece is sized to, and over here as well. It just takes all the thought out of it, right down to the dovetail pieces. The exact dimensions are given in this little book. So it's just such a helpful jumping off point. Like I say all the time, you guys have heard me say it, when you have a sketch, you can just go from there. It's a jumping off point. It's meant to spark your imagination and give you some place to start. And then where you take it is up to you. So again, thank you for watching. I will put the link to the 8.5 by 11 as well as to the 8.5 by 11 sketchbook, as well as all the products that I've used here today, down below in this video's description. And if you have not yet done so, go ahead through our playlist and see what is out there. All of the other 6 girls have created layouts already this week. They're there for your viewing pleasure. And then subscribe to my channel, subscribe to the other girls' channels, because we are planning on continuing our designs with the sketchbook, and I will most likely continue in 12 by 12 format because that's what I'm most comfortable with. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and this way you won't miss any of my upcoming videos. Thanks for watching.